So, a huge blow for Google today, with a judge issuing a giant L to the company and saying Google is a monopoly. It's not me saying this, is the judge saying this. And we're going to look at the actual verdict from the judge's actual words on this in just a moment. But lots of big stories like CNBC right here saying Google loses antitrust case over search. A federal U.S. judge ruled Monday that Google has illegally held a monopoly in search and text advertising, says the CNBC report. The court honed in on Google's executive search arrangements on Android and Apple's iPhone and iPad devices. What does that mean? That means when you're on your iPhone or your Android and you don't go to Google, you don't go to a search engine, you don't go to Bing or any of these things, you just type in your search, it automatically defaults to Google. And Google pays Apple a tremendous amount of money for that. And Google pays other companies a tremendous amount of money to be the de facto default in the world of search. So this isn't just impacting Google, this is also impacting many other companies. CNN says Google loses massive antitrust lawsuit over its search dominance. And GeekWire says Google is a monopolist. Tech giant loses antitrust suit over search business, and a huge victory for the DOJ. Now, this case was started under the Trump administration, and the Department of Justice started things under Trump and continued this case against Google under the Biden administration. So sort of a bipartisan attack here. And anybody who's been watching Google do Google things for a very long time knows this was a long time coming. Here's the actual ruling coming down from the judge on this. It says, conclusion. And this is, by the way, 286-page ruling with all of the different pieces of the interview, all the basic facts about how Google works as a company. I'll link this in the comments below if you want to check out more. But just the important part here. For the foregoing reasons, the court concludes that Google has violated Section 2 of the Sherman Act by maintaining its monopoly in two product markets in the United States. So this is a two-part monopoly, not just for search, not just the default search stuff, but a two-part monopoly ruling by this judge. It's general search services and this is big, general text advertising. We'll talk about what could happen as a result of this in just a moment. Through its exclusive distribution agreements, the court thus holds that Google is liable as to counts 1 and 3 of the U.S. plaintiff's amended complaint. And they also continue, the court enters judgment for Google as to count 2 of both the U.S. plaintiff's amended complaint and the plaintiff's state's complaint, blah, 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 signed by the judge. Now, this is saying that Google has a market monopoly in the worlds of search services and general text advertising. Google was arguing back, hey, judge, this is an open market for people to bid to be the default search provider, say for like your iPhone, right? So you can bid and any other company could try to outbid us to be the default for the iPhone, and DuckDuckGo or Bing or whomever could jump in and take that position. The judge says just because there's an auction for the right to do this doesn't mean that you're not a monopoly, because your endless budget makes it so you basically still are a monopoly. You are indeed, is what the judge said in this conclusion. So what happens now? That's sort of the big question here. A couple of outcomes could be Google being forced, as the Bell company did long ago, to break its company into smaller companies. Like, for instance, AdSense could be broken off of Google to keep them away from this general text advertising monopoly. Or Google could lose its default on the iPhone and Android devices. But what does that actually mean? If Apple doesn't get money from Google, and let's just check. Let's just do a check here. How much does Google pay Apple to be default? I'm sure somebody has this. Search. All right. $20 billion a year. They pay $20 billion a year to be the default search engine on your iPhone or in Safari. That's a lot of money. Now, Apple isn't going to get that $20 billion, but is Apple going to say, hey, let's throw Bing up there, let's throw DuckDuckGo up there? Or is Apple still going to say, everybody wants Google anyways, we're just going to have to take a hit to the tune of $20 billion here, and Google gets everything that they had to begin with. That is the big question. Will Google break into some smaller companies, or will Google just end up being in the same exact spot because there's so much market dominance that they have anyways? What do you think should happen, and what do you think's going to happen? Let me know in the comments below.